Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. Happy Thursday. I'm back, or more like still in the studio. I haven't left from the first video I started recording. Now we are in video number 5, and then we have one more video to do afterwards. And I'm like, so excited that we're getting close to getting them done, which means that then I get to do the next thing that I wanted to do. And I remember, which is also a great reminder, that I actually used to get feeling dread every time I had to do something. Um, Even like physically move or do something that meant changing my state, my physical state where I was. I just wanted to stay there and be miserable where I was because it was comfortable, which meant I didn't have to do anything. I could just be there in my own misery, and it was no way to live. Absolutely no way to live. And that is actually exactly what led me to become a spiritual awakening core energy coach. And that's something that I continue to dive in deeper with myself. I'm I'm my own guinea pig with everything that I share with you guys. I test it out on myself. I see how it is. I understand it, and then I share the information once I understand it in a level that I can actually explain it in a way that makes sense to you, and only if you're ready to hear. Because there's people I've had conversations with people where I can tell energetically, I can feel there's a wall, they're closed, they're not here, not listening, and I struggle to express myself, and that's because there's that energetic wall that they have shut down. They're no longer here. They went somewhere else. So I've learned that that is my cue to say, okay, we are good. Thank you. I go this way, you go that way, essentially, right? And never taking it personal because it's not personal. They're just, I know the things I talk about, the concepts I discuss and I cover here, and even with my friendships, people, not everyone can handle, not everyone can even tolerate, not everyone can even, more so, even understand or even begin to understand. And it takes some time understanding and then have this conversation. So you are that person for somebody in your life. You are that person. And it's okay. It's okay to give them the time and space to be there, to process them, for you to have your own. So today I wanted to, the page that I opened to, because we continue going through the love being, page that I opened today is challenging interpretation. And I'm not going to take you through all of the exercises, or maybe actually, yeah, maybe I will. Because you know what? Even if you do decide to take this program, if you do it again, it's, how do I put it? So go through the same exercise again, and you see that you have a different response and how much you grew and evolved from it. To me, and to actually every woman that I work with, that's one of the most exciting things because that's evolution in black and white. You can't argue with that evolution. You can't say, oh no, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that. Well, unless you weren't honest, what you were putting down. So I will share this exercise with you with interpretations. But before we go into interpretations, into the exercises, I wanted to share with you to help you understand what interpretations actually are. So interpretations are stories that we tell ourselves to help us understand what the fuck just happened. That's the best way to describe it. Oh my god, what just happened? And we interpret the situation, we interpret the experience, we interpret what we observe to help us understand in our rational mind what we just watched on this television, which is not even a TV, but it's something that we're watching that's outside of this screen that we see, that's outside of us, that is telling us a vision, that is telling us something. So what vision is it telling you? That's what you can tell through the story. It's telling you a vision. You are telling yourself a vision. and that's an interpretation. So sometimes interpretations is actually a great thing if we use them to our benefit, because most of us, we don't even know that we're being used by them in a way, because we're not even aware that we're making interpretations. They can either build us or they can destroy us, these interpretations. So I'll give you an example of an interpretation. So another way of actually looking at it is believing that we believe that something happened in the past, that it must happen the same way again, which we can also challenge that belief in a way of, why must you believe? Why must we believe that just because something happened in the past, in the way that it happened in the past, that it must happen that same way again? Why must it happen that same way? Why? Most of, and then within itself start to uncover that it actually doesn't even happen in the same way again. It might resemble it, but it doesn't really. It's a different experience, a different thing. Everything is different. And I just get to learn a little bit more about something that I've been learning about. Okay, so just realizing that there are other ways to look at something lessens the power of your interpretation. So for now, you have one interpretation of, I'm going to call it a scenario, because that's the word that's coming to mind, without you having to wait for too long of the other words that I want to use instead of a scenario. I want you to think of an experience, something that you have experienced, maybe not so long ago, maybe a while back, that you want to change that interpretation. You want to rewrite it. You want to challenge it, which means you want to rewrite it, which means you agree with it, but you don't want to agree with it. Or maybe you don't agree with it, but part of you still does, or your body still does, and you want to challenge it. So just when we start to see that there are different ways of looking at something, there's different ways, different stories that we can assign to an experience, story that will be much more soothing to us, to the soul, to our time while we're here. Because regardless of what we're telling ourselves, it's still a story. And a story is still a story, whether it's true or not, it's still a story, which means the story can be rewritten, it can be written, and can't be unwritten, but it can be rewritten. So you can rewrite the stories that you don't like. Okay, and then interpretations can be challenged by asking the following questions. So here are the questions that can help you to challenge those interpretations. Number one, what's another way to look at that experience, the situation that has a hold on you? What is another way to look at that situation? Take a moment, you can write it down, think about it, and then pause at that, because I don't want to take too long with pauses, so that way I can, for you and for myself, for the time, what is it? We all have finite time or limited time, and we get to choose how we spend it. So hopefully you choosing to spend it with yourself and for yourself, and others get to benefit from it by being around you and with you and absorbing all that energy that is you. So that was the question. What's another way to look at that? Just looking at it in a different way. You want to look at it more than one way, look at it more than one way. The more the merrier. The second question, what would your best friend or your spouse's or another person, someone else that comes to mind, perspective of the situation be? What would Yana's perspective situation be? What would your mom's perspective of the situation be? Your sisters, your brothers, your partners, your boss, a fun stranger you might have met, anyone that comes to mind, what would their perspective of the situation be? Now, the third question, this is where make sure you take the time to write everything and then pause. Third, What would someone who had the complete opposite point of view from yours say about the situation? That would be an interesting one. Thinking of someone who has or could potentially be, could be a fiction character. If you can't think of anyone, just create a character. And what would their point of view be, which is the opposite of yours? Challenging interpretation, challenging situation, challenging ourselves, challenging the status quo. We're we thrive when we're challenged, and we overcome them, and then we become stronger, and then we become more valuable, and then we can help others to do the same in their own way and their own journey. So that is all I have for you guys for today. That was super quick as well. Next one is probably going to be even shorter, and it will be also from the Law of Being. Thank you very much for listening, for watching. This is more than enough questions for you guys to respond. If you want to share them down below, feel free to do so, however you want to share them. And also a reminder, invite your friends in here because it's so much more fun with friends. Always fun with friends because they just allow us to shine and shine and shine as bright as we can and as true as we can to who we truly are. So bring them in here. Let's continue growing together as individuals, as a community, and then as the world. Because when we focus on ourselves and we elevate our own energy and our own consciousness, will help those that are in the proximity of us to do the same without just energetically speaking. And then they themselves can start to find wanting to learn or doing some things differently and not knowing why. And you could be the one to know that you're the one in even your neighborhood elevating the status of your neighborhood, elevating the energy of your neighborhood because your energy spreads beyond just you. It there's even proof that by elevating one person's status, and status is just energy, right? How a person feels energetically, feeling amazing. By elevating one person's energy in a neighborhood, it elevates everyone else, right? Because we are also connected. And the closer you are to the source, the warmer you'll feel. So that's it. Thank you. And until the next video, which will be for you guys this next Thursday. And the really quick reminders again, Monday and Thursday, 11:30. Monday's card reading. Thursday, get your shit together with moi, Yana Kasperczak. And Tuesdays, we have our Sacred Circle on Zoom. If you want to join that, reach out to me or Bethany. We'll give you the link, or you can see one of the posts with the link in there to register. And then Wednesday, we have 12 o'clock. Bethany has her mindfulness practice class. And then at 1:30, we have our Heal the Unicorn podcast. All the times at Eastern Time. That's it. Thank you very much. And until I see you in one of these events, one of these videos, one of these things that I mentioned, and until then, thank you very much for helping me grow, for helping yourself grow, for taking the time for yourself and for your loved ones. As you take care of yourself, you take care of your loved ones, and bringing in more like-minded women who are on the same journey and want to grow and evolve together and understand that we're each individuals and we're meant to not only coexist, but to help one another to thrive. There's so much more to life than just surviving. Than just surviving, there's thriving. And that means doing what is going to allow you to feel the emotions and the feelings that you actually want. And the more you have those, the more you focus on them, not just by doing, but by being as well, and just remembering and feeling those, bringing them into the now, the feelings and emotions, you'll have more of that and more and more and more of that because what you focus on grows. Anyways, that is it. Thank you very much. And until next time, bye everybody.